Let's talk about where you landed, though, because I love it. Gather, ask, do.
Sure. Well, first of all, it is going to be, when you go to the bookstore, it will be in the networking genre. And I make the case that this is not about networking. There is a need, and networking has existed, but the way I look at networking is it's very transactional. It's walking into a room and meeting as many people as you can and getting business cards. And then, 6 months from now, when you need something, you go to that card and you write that person and say, hey, I'm looking for a job, or hey, can you introduce me to? That is not what this is about. The three components: gather is first looking inside yourself and really doing an honest kind of audit or assessment of what is the community you want to build around you? Who do you want to have in your life more than just a hi and bye? Okay, so it's not a numbers game. It can be 3 people, it can be 300 people, but it's really looking first at yourself. And part of that also took me into this area of FOMO, because a lot of people will say, well, how do I gather if, I don't get invited to places? So my contention is be the gatherer. Don't wait to be invited. That way, instead of fear of missing out, you actually create joy of meeting others, which I termed very kind of goofy, but JOMO. And when you hear JOMO, you think of joy of missing out. And I say, no, it's the joy of meeting others. Because at least in my life and many people that I know, it's actually amazing meeting people, because you learn so much.
Yeah.
About yourself, about them, about the world that you would not have you learn things you would never know if you didn't meet that person.
Yeah. Which is really only true if you are of that mindset.
Well,
right. Because I think a lot of people think about kind of networking events or even gatherings as like I have to go do this thing. And, there's going to be all these people there and all this small talk. And, you can kind of go into like, it's not for me. But if you're going into it with a joy for meeting other people open to what's possible, it's really, amazing.
Well, I think also if you walk into that room, not with believe me, I'm the first person to want to hide in the bathroom. I know I seem like I'm an extrovert. There are moments where I am just like, oh my God, I don't belong here. I'm like nothing. I don't matter. But the thing is, if you look around and you say maybe 2 people, you don't have to meet everyone. You can have conversations with 2 people. Yeah. And there are portions of the book that address, if you're an introvert, how do you do this?
Good.
And you actually, you find the connector in the room and you hang with that connector who then can help you. It's a little like your wingman or wingwoman.
Right. Good. All right. Ask. Tell us about ask.
Well, ask is exactly what you were just, it leads to what you were saying is, first of all, there's a chapter that's dedicated to what are the questions you can ask to elicit responses. And I will tell you, when I am 5 foot tall with heels. Okay, my license says I'm 5 foot, so technically I'm 5 foot. But over the years, when I would walk into the proverbial conference room, boardroom, convention hall, dinner party, no one would see me. Yes, we all look over others to see who else is in the room. I don't, because I can't see, but most people, it's just it's human nature, right? We're curious. But I found to actually get people to engage, if you ask them questions about themselves, generally, and again, this is a generalization, but generally they will respond. And if you ask questions that aren't about, gee, what's the weather like in your city today if you're on a virtual call? Or what did you have for lunch? But instead, ask questions like, how have you been faring during this pandemic? And what do you need help with? Chances are, unless they're an ogre, that person is going to respond to you. So to me, it's really finessing. And I think of this as anything else, whether it's riding a bike or, hopscotching, you get better with practice. But I do believe if you have these types of meaningful conversations and ask those kind of questions, it will elicit the responses that then enable you to go to the do. And the do, I don't want to say one of each of the 3 is more important, but the do is creating trust and reliability and following through. People often say to me, Susan, on your epitaph, it's going to say she got shit done. You know what? If that's what it says, so be it. I guess there's a whole lot worse things it could say. But I pride myself on when somebody says, can you do this? I usually get it done. And also, if I can't get it done, I fess up. And I either say I can't get it done or I find somebody who might be able to help them. So that is the kind of circle. But if you don't ask the proper questions, you won't know what is important to that person. Therefore, guess what? You can't be helpful.
It's wonderful. I love it. It's we have a kind of an internal joke because I once said in a meeting with a big group of architects and bankers and all these people that were trying to kind of figure out how to make this project we were working on happen. And I said, listen, our superpower is that we get shit done. And they thought that was the craziest. I'm like, no, I mean it. We don't sit in rooms and talk about stuff and then don't do it. If we're going to talk about it, we're going to get it done.